So I wanted to just share a little quote and then finish up with a song that just wants me to sing it, and I don't know how it fits, but I think it does fit. But this is a wonderful book by Leonard Mlodinow, who is a physicist. He's just an amazing writer as well, and he actually wrote some of the MacGyver episodes on TV as well. You know, so you see some of the weird stuff that MacGyver does. This guy, he's right there. But this book is called Subliminal: How Your Unconscious Mind Rules Your Behavior. And what's really cool is that in secret language on the front cover, in amongst those other words, it says, "Psst, hey there, yes, you, sexy, buy this book now. You know you want it." The back cover has buy in secret. I think that's great. And he talks a lot about the unconscious mind. And as a hypnotherapist, I mean, that's, for me, all of the healing work that I've done has really been getting into the place where we're not working with conscious stuff, because that's willpower. And we all know our willpower only goes so far. But unless we actually address the unconscious mind and heal the stuff that we're not aware of, we're not going to make the changes that we want to make. But once you get your unconscious mind on board, and there are some amazing techniques like EFT and neurolinguistics and timeline therapy and all these other things that I've been playing with for the last 20 years, we can actually clear stuff and move on instead of just talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And one of the biggest pieces of my training is story, and how your unconscious mind, we are literally hardwired to suck in stories, to just like, oh. And there's a process with the fancy name of displacing the referential index. And what that means is, in hypnosis, or pretty much any other time as well, I can tell you a story about someone else. But your unconscious mind projects everything and thinks it's about you. So Milton Erickson, the father of modern hypnotherapy, would tell somebody a story about a tomato, and the guy would go home and lose weight, right? So there's a story here, and this guy ends his book talking about unrealistic optimism and how vital it is to the survival of the human species. And there are tons of studies, you know, the pessimists are usually more accurate, but the optimists get more done and have a hell of a lot more fun in life. So I want to challenge us all to dive deep into the possibilities of our unrealistic optimism. As you confront the world, unrealistic optimism can be a life vest that keeps you afloat. Modern life, like our primitive past, has its daunting obstacles. The physicist Joe Polchinski wrote that when he started to draft his textbook on string theory, he expected that the project would take 1 year. It took him 10. Looking back, had I had a sober assessment of the time and effort required to write this book, or to become a theoretical physicist for that matter, I would have shrunk before both endeavors. Motivated reasoning and motivated remembering and all the other quirks of how we think about ourselves and our world may have their downsides, but when we're facing great challenges, whether it's losing a job, embarking on a course of chemotherapy, writing a book, enduring a decade of medical school internship and residency, spending the thousands of practice hours necessary to become an accomplished violinist or ballet dancer, putting in years of 80-hour weeks to establish a new business, or starting over in a new country with no money and no skills, the natural optimism of the human mind is one of our greatest gifts. Before my brothers and I were born, my parents lived in a small flat on the north side of Chicago. My father worked long hours, sewing clothes in a sweatshop. But his meager income left my parents unable to make the rent. Then one night, my father came home excited. He told my mother they were looking for a new seamstress at work and that he had gotten her the job. "You start tomorrow," he said. It sounded like a propitious move, since this would almost double their income, keep them off beggars' row, and give them the comfort of spending far more time together. There was only one drawback. my mother did not know how to sew. Before Hitler invaded Poland, before she lost everyone and everything, before she became a refugee in a strange land, my mother had been a child of wealth. Sewing wasn't anything a teenage girl and her family needed to learn. And so my future parents had a little discussion. My father told my mother he could teach her. They would work at it all night, and in the morning, they'd take the train to the shop together, and she would do a passable job. Anyway, he was very fast and could cover for her until she got the hang of it. My mother considered herself clumsy and worse, too timid to go through with such a scheme, but my father insisted that she was capable and brave. She was a survivor just as he was, he told her, and so they talked back and forth about which qualities truly defined my mother. We choose the facts that we want to believe. We also choose our friends, lovers, and spouses, not just because of the way we perceive them, but because of the way they perceive us. Unlike phenomena in physics, in life, events can often obey one theory or another, and what actually happens can depend largely upon which theory we choose to believe. It is a gift of the human mind to be extraordinarily open to accepting the theory of ourselves that pushes us in the direction of survival and even happiness. And so my parents did not sleep that night, while my father taught my mother how to sew. And as I look out at all of you, I want you to know that you can do whatever it is that you have in your heart to do or to be. Because why else are we here but to challenge ourselves to grow and to face the things that terrify the hell out of us, and to do them anyway, or at least take a step towards doing them, and to love ourselves in the process. Woo! That story makes me cry every time.